10:30 on Sunday morning, and I've just had to pretend that I don't have bed hair. I got up about half an hour ago, 3/4 of an hour ago, and I'm going to start my day by sitting and knitting, drinking Pepsi and watching the Knit podcast. I did start listening to it last night, but half of the fun of any knitting podcast or vlog or video cast or whatever terminology you use is actually seeing what's been knitted. And when I fall asleep, I have my phone cover closed so I can't see anything, so the light doesn't disturb me and my husband. So whilst I know she's done some knitting of jumpers, I don't know what they look like. So yeah, that's how I'm going to start my Sunday, because it's Sunday and why not? So I've watched the Knit podcast and I've watched the Little Drops of Wonderful daily vlog from yesterday. And this is how much I've knitted whilst I was doing it. So I'm starting a new thing with the stitch markers. So these two are going to be used to mark however much I knit in one particular session. And this is being used to mark how much I've knit per day. So that goes on at the beginning of the day, just to mark how much I've knit in that particular day. So that's how much I've knit. There we go. This is what the shawl looks like at the moment. The colours haven't quite turned out the way I was expecting. It seems that there are sections of pooling. So yeah, there's a big green and yellow bit there. There's kind of a purple and green bit there. But actually, overall, I quite like it. To be honest, I think if I was going to knit this one again in a multicoloured yarn, I may actually split the ball in half so it was more obvious stripes. Do 2 rows in one ball, 2 rows in the next ball. I'm not a massive fan of pooling generally, but yeah, this is nice and bright and colourful. And you may or may not also be able to hear outside our window the neighbours that have a habit of sitting right underneath our sitting room window talking to somebody, I don't know who, on speakerphone. So I can hear both sides of the conversation, neither of which are in English. I think it's Greek. If I was going to have a guess, I would say it was Greek. This, if you can see it, is the bread we made yesterday, which I'm having with a bit of cheese for lunch. It's very yeasty. When I went to cut it, this sort of nice smell of yeast came wafting up. So I'm going to put that down because it's making my wrist sore holding it up. So yeah, a nice waft of yeast came out as I was slicing the bread. Next time we do that packet mix, because we've got one more packet mix left, next time the plan is to mix it up by hand, so contents of the packet plus water, mix that up by hand, let it rest, then do the kneading part of it in the bread maker. Because yesterday I was kneading it for 10 minutes, I don't think I'd kneaded it enough, and by the time I finished my wrist was hurting quite badly. And so that's why I didn't carry on, because I was in pain. But I don't think I did knead it enough. So next time we're going to do the kneading in the bread machine, leave it to prove like we did yesterday, bake it in the oven rather than in the bread machine, and then hopefully we will have a nearly perfect loaf of bread. But the version we've got today, so much better than the first attempt. I've just realised something, that by putting the tubs down yesterday, the place where I normally sit and do any recordings in the garden is now taken up by tub. Didn't think that one through. I'm out in the garden again for a bit of natural hair drying. After waking up this morning and then knitting, I went back to bed for a nap. So I've got up, I've had a shower, clean hair, clean body. Mind is still as filthy as ever. So our next door neighbour is having a phone call, so I don't know if she can hear me. I can certainly hear her, so a little bit self-conscious. So I might just sit here for a few minutes in the sun, drying my hair off, and then go back upstairs and do the rest of the recording. Alright, my neighbour's now gone in, so I'm slightly less self-conscious. I've just been watching the government briefing which was absolutely extraordinary. They were asked twice what the evidence was for the claim that deaths in care homes are falling. Twice they refused to answer. So from that, I'm going to assume there is no evidence that the number of deaths in care homes is falling. No concrete, proper, reliable evidence. At best, I would guess it is a suspicion based on the fact that deaths in hospitals are dropping. So if both death patterns are following the same curve, then it is fair to make a guess that deaths in care homes are dropping. But no evidence was presented for the claim, despite being asked twice. Politics, eh? I've also found what the cause of all of the blue bottle flies is. Well, one of them. So I saw quite a few yesterday and suspected it was because there was a bit of poo somewhere. I went to sit down just now on the kind of curb, the raised edges of our garden, and found there's a very copious turd. It definitely wasn't there yesterday because it has been placed in part of the garden that we were digging up. So it's definitely new within the last 24 hours or so. I don't have gloves on or the desire to deal with it right at this moment in time, but I'm going to have to. Just, ooh. And the next thing I need to do today, now I've got up and got dressed, is take some bottles to the bottle bank. Because we've got quite a few of them kicking around the kitchen. So our recycling so far has been collected okay, but we can't guarantee it due to personnel availability. We have one big bin for glass, plastic and cans. So what we've been doing is separating off the glass and putting it in the bottle bank, squashing down the cans and the plastics to go into the recycling bin. So hopefully if we miss a collection at any point, there's still enough room in the bin to keep on collecting all of our recycling. But for that, I need to go to the bottle bank. Oh yeah, also somebody's got a barbecue going and it smells really nice. I can't find the bag I want to use to take the bottles to the bottle bank. This is annoying. There was two I could use. One I've found and it's too small, and the one I want to use I cannot find. Also, I did start saying this outside and it all went wrong. I wasn't going to film the poo that I found in the garden, but I did notice that it had two types of flies on it. The blue bottles, which are just generally, and another type, excuse me. So I did take a little bit of footage of the other type because it's not one I'd ever seen before or paid attention to even. Basically, I think I'm just a frustrated wildlife camera operator. Maybe I need to move down to Bristol and fulfil my true calling in the BBC Natural Sciences Unit, or Natural History Unit, or what they're called. Yeah, Natural History, because Natural Sciences is something you study at Oxbridge. Well, I don't, because I didn't study science and I didn't study at Oxbridge, but one can study at Oxbridge. I think my hair is slightly drier now. And when I leave it to dry naturally, it gets a wave in it, a natural wave, which I quite like. So I will leave it to dry as naturally as possible. A, for that. B, because I may as well, because it's nice summer weather now, or sunny weather. But also because the carbon output of a hairdryer is apparently quite high. And I like the environment as it is. So if I can reduce the amount of carbon I pump out into it, I will do. I've seen paper overflowing from the bins before, but I've never seen it this bad. Genuinely never seen it this bad. So I couldn't actually find the bag I wanted. I'm using this one instead, which had a whole load of gardening things in it. Whilst looking for the bag I did want to use, though, I found the pan from the dustpan and brush that went missing 2-3 weeks ago. That was fun. I also found a Stanley knife and some plant ties. I mean, the plant ties didn't surprise me, but the Stanley knife? I just love the sound of the smashing. And the car park overlooks the railway, which of course has no trains today. But yeah, I've never seen the railway from this angle before. Always reminds me of primary school. One of the primary schools I went to was called Oakwood, and I'm pretty sure the logo for the school was an oak leaf. Look at that. See, wildlife everywhere. I have no idea what those are on the leaf. Eggs? I'm not honestly sure who's shocked to see who. I wasn't expecting to see a fox here, and the fox clearly wasn't expecting to see me. It's okay, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. But what I noticed that gave it away is that down there. There's quite obviously a hole that something has crawled into or climbed under. And it would appear to be Mr. Fox. He was still there. Do you know what, the trip for the recycling was worth it just for the fox. And there's another slightly less obvious gateway, Fox Gateway. So that's the second one. That's the one I was standing at just now. So I'm now going to walk along the fence and see if there are any other gaps where foxes have got in. My suspicion is there aren't. My guess is that they have particular tracks and particular routes that they use because they know they're safe, they get from A to B the way they want to. And those two routes in get to wherever they want to be, so I'm guessing they've got a layer or something a bit further into the woods. I've seen urban foxes on the platforms at the train station before, but I've never seen them in the wild like that. That was amazing. Trains and foxes all in the same day. How much better can it get? Right, another hole, but that's clearly something that's dug under and is living under the ground, so I have no idea what that is. But I can see that foxes could get in there easily if they wanted to. And yet another hole, which also, if you look down there, also looks like it might go under the ground. Right, so that's 4 entry points I've found so far. And there, if you see it, is the edge of the platform. So I would suspect, or I may be wrong, I was before, but I suspect that there aren't going to be any more burrows for animals too far on, or from this point onwards, simply because it's too close to the humans. They don't want to be close to us humans. To be honest, I understand why. It's a blackbird, but of course as soon as I moved into a position where I could record it and see it clearly, it decided to fly away. It's very definitely a blackbird making that beautiful sound. Still see it just there. Problem is my camera is incredibly zoomed in, so any slight move I make is going to be amplified. Unfortunately, I'm moving quite a lot because I don't have my tripod. But there's very definitely a blackbird in the tree. Much more obvious from this angle.
Normally, if somebody crossed the road to avoid me, I'd be kind of offended. Now I'm just grateful. Before we lose the light entirely, back from the bottle bank, I've been doing some more knitting whilst watching London's Burning. After I finish this particular episode, I will be completely and utterly up to date. I found these in my pocket. It's the £1 coin. I put that there a couple of days ago, but this trolley token, I have no idea how long it's been there. It's been ages since £1 coins were that size and that we could use the trolley tokens like this. But also, my jeans have been washed relatively recently, so that would have been in the pocket before the jeans got washed. And I don't know how long it's been there. It may have been through the wash 2 or 3 times. I genuinely do not know. So yeah, that's... No, not sure what I'm going to do with that. Simply because they're not useful anymore. Pound coins aren't like that anymore. That can't be used as a trolley token anymore. This is the deal. I came back. My sister has sent me some lovely WhatsApp photographs of my nephews playing out in the garden. And yes, possibly causing mayhem. I don't know. You couldn't tell for certain from the photographs, but 2 boys under the age of 5, I suspect mayhem is going to be part of the agenda somewhere. I think I'm pretty much now going to sign off. We are about to have... No, we're not about to have supper. James has started doing some washing up. I'll be going through and doing some drying up in a minute. We've got a Sunday roast dinner planned to clear some space in the freezer. Genuinely not sure what we're going to do for the rest of the evening, but probably will involve some more knitting. As I don't like filming when there is no light, I am going to sign off pretty much now. And see you all again tomorrow for a new week. This here is what I was meaning about the stitch markers. So this green one here with the beaver, I still think looks like something from the Chronicles of Narnia. Maybe. But yes, that's where I started off today. See, no, there you go. You look at it like that, where the ears aren't so clear. I think that looks like Malgrim or Aslan or something. I am going to say that till my dying breath. But yes, that's where I started today, where that green one is. These 2 purple ones here, the space between there is the knitting I was doing earlier when I was letting my hair dry. And then the space between this purple one here and where the needles are at the moment is what I've been doing whilst watching the television this evening since coming back from the bottle bank. Also, you will see that I am using the cubics. I'm starting to form an opinion on them, but it's not complete. So when I've got a complete opinion of those, I will share my review. But I'll share my review later.